When the lights were turned down to a low pulse, it was similar to the rhythm of a heartbeat before a race. Fans were on the edge of their seats, and the coaches were poised with anticipation. The atmosphere inside the studio where The Voice was being produced was tremendous. In spite of the fact that the knockout rounds of season 27 had already created a few viral moments, nobody could have guessed that Jacquelyn George, a dynamo from Atlanta who is only 21 years old, would offer a performance that would be talked about for years to come. As she went onto the smoky stage, Jacquelyn was dressed in a dazzling silver jumpsuit that caught the light with each breath that she took. JoJo's Too Little Too Late, a pop R&B favorite from 2006 that is famous for its passionate delivery and soaring vocals, was the song that she chose to perform instead of something else. Nevertheless, Jacquelyn had a strategy to make it her own, which was to create a breathtaking conclusion that featured whistle tones, a vocal style that is reserved for only the most exceptional of talents. At the moment that the opening chords were played, Jacquelyn took complete control of the space. Her voice, which was deep and smoky at the bottom, wrapped itself around the lyrics with a tenderness that imparted a sense of freshness to the song that was already established. As the new coach for this season, Michael Bublé leaned forward with his eyebrows lifted. He sensed that something extraordinary was happening. Adam Levine, who is known for being the first person to see something that has the potential to become famous, smiled devilishly and tapped his buzzer in a gesture of gratitude. By the time the second verse was over, Jacquelyn's voice had developed into a slow burn. It was the kind of performance that did not shout for attention, but rather pulled the audience in and demanded their whole attention. The way she phrased things was flawless, and her dynamics were exquisite. When John Legend was thoroughly engrossed in her artistic performance, he closed his eyes and let himself to go. It was then when the moment arrived. There was a brave license that Jacquelyn took when she was getting closer to the last chorus. She not only ascended higher into the stratosphere of vocal range, but she also did not follow JoJo's original melodic line. With a transition that was both magnificent and smooth, she launched into a whistle tone that was crystal clear. It was a series of notes that were so clean and piercing that they felt almost unreal. The entire studio let out a collective gasp, akin to the way sunlight reflects off of water. The notes shimmered and danced in the air. Michael Bublé's jaw dropped, an unvarnished emotion that was shortly echoed by Adam Levine, who threw both hands into the air like a referee signaling a touchdown. Michael Bublé's jaw dropped because he understood what was going on. Kelsea Ballerini clasped her hand over her mouth, her eyes widening in disbelief. John Legend shook his head slowly, a grin spreading across his face as if to say, "This girl is not of this earth." Kelsea Ballerini's eyes were wide with disbelief. Jacquelyn did not simply hit the whistle tones. Rather, she played with them, bending the notes with the touch of a musician, and cascading them into a lovely and nuanced riff that led her back into the final phrase of the song in a gentle manner. While she was finishing up the performance with a triumphant and chesty belt, the audience broke into a standing ovation that shook the walls of the studio. Before the coaches had even had a chance to gather their thoughts, Michael Bublé punched his button for the theft, and his chair began to spin back toward Jacquelyn with an almost hilarious intensity. After a few beats, Adam Levine did the same thing, laughing and yelling, "How do you even do that?" To the point when she could hardly contain herself, Kelsea Ballerini yelled out, "I do not have any notes." That was out of this world. In astonishment, she turned her attention to the other people and shook her head. She just rewrote the knockouts. A heavy tone of appreciation could be heard in John Legend's voice as he leaned into his microphone. "I just wanted to say that, Jacquelyn, you just gave a performance that was one of the most technically challenging and emotionally connected renditions of a pop song that I have ever seen someone do on this stage. That is to say, whistle tones, by the command, and still with such a lot of guts. That is an excellent example." A heated discussion ensued among the coaches over which among them had the potential to provide Jacquelyn with the platform that she needed going forward. She was commended by Michael Bublé for her jazz-like control, and he promised that she would showcase her one-in-a-million voice in fresh and creative ways. The argument put out by Adam Levine was that his familiarity with pop and rock music may help her artistry and propel her to the level of superstardom. In the event that Jacquelyn ever desired to experiment with genre fusion, Kelsey Ballerini stressed her emotional senses and offered to assist her in bridging the gap between pop and country music. In order to maintain her equilibrium, Jacquelyn listened with her hands clasped together. She was radiant but grounded. In spite of the fact that she was aware that there would be no actual competition today, her knockout opponent, who was also a wonderful singer in her own right, stood close and enthusiastically clapped. This was Jacquelyn's chance to shine. "I'm going to go with Michael Bublé," Jacquelyn exclaimed with a beaming smile while she was faced with the decision of which artist to select. After receiving applause from the audience, Michael practically danced his way onto the stage, where he then embraced Jacquelyn in a jubilant manner. "I grew up idolizing JoJo. Her vocals, her emotion," Jacquelyn said to reporters after the performance when she was backstage. "I used to sing Too Little Too Late into my hairbrush when I was a kid. It was one of those songs that caught my attention. It seemed like a dream come true to be able to pay tribute to that song, while also incorporating my own unique style into it through the use of whistle tones." Almost immediately after its release, the video of Jacquelyn's performance of Knockout was uploaded to the internet. Within a short period of time, it amassed millions of views. Worldwide, Whistle Queen was a popular craze. JoJo herself posted a tweet that read, "CDECHLES. My passion for Too Little Too Late has been rekindled thanks to Jacquelyn George, who has just accomplished this feat. Incredible." Through the course of the 27th season of The Voice, it became very evident that Jacquelyn George was not merely another contender. The kind of artist who didn't just sing songs but transformed them, stretching what was possible within the show's lengthy heritage of spectacular performers. She was a force and a phenomenon. She was the kind of artist who went beyond singing songs. In a single performance that will live long in the memory, Jacquelyn had established not only her position on The Voice, but also her position in the future of pop music itself. She had performed a few notes that seemed to touch the skies, which were impossible to reach.